Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. This is for StarCraft 2 Strategy, your number one location for step-by-step strategy and tutorial videos. Today we're going to be taking a look at a Zerg strategy. Basically what we're going to be looking at in this video is how to bust through a Protoss wall off with a small choke, how to kind of force your Protoss opponent to pull their units away from that choke to try to stop you from killing their buildings, and then running your Zerglings into their base to trying to devastate their mineral line and take out any buildings they may have. Now the replay that we're looking at of this particular strategy is between Liquid Hey Pro as our Zerg player, and the Protoss opponent is Andro. So basically what we're going to be looking at here, we're going to see a very popular type of wall off from our Protoss opponent. And any of these maps that have this natural expansion with some sort of a choke available right in front of the natural, a lot of Protoss players go for a pylon and either a couple of gateways, or a gateway and a cybernetics core, or a gateway and a forge, and then leaving just a small choke to fit zealots in. Now what we're going to do in seeing this is, once we see this kind of frontal wall off here, and again this is popular, this isn't by any means not very well seen. This isn't something that no one ever does. These two players are very strong, very strong and professional players as well. So when we see this wall off, we're going to start mass producing our Zerglings, and the choke is actually going to be down here. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our Zerglings to attack these buildings on the extreme edge, kind of force a zealot out, and then run in when the zealot moves away. Now you may be saying, well, okay, well what if he just has a ton of zealots there? He's going to have to pull more than one out with the amount of Zerglings we're hitting him with. And then also something to note is this is really only going to work in the extremely early phases of the game. Once he gets some photon cannons behind this frontal wall, that type of Zergling push isn't going to work. You might have to resort to Banelings or just avoid the front wall altogether and try to do drops or Nidus Worms into the base. But what we're going to be looking at as far as the build order, we went with that 14 spawning pool, and we are neglecting that extractor because we did see this frontal wall, and we're deciding instead to go for a fast expansion coupled with the mass Zergling is basically what we're going to be looking at. So now that we do have our spawning pool up, we're going to start creating Zerglings. We have 6 on the way. Now taking a look back here, you can see that the Protoss player is finally completing that wall off. Going to be dropping the cybernetics core right here, moving this zealot down to block this front entrance, and basically there's just a small choke in between, and it's just enough for one unit to fit in. So while it sits here and while it's on stop, Zerglings are unable to run through. But again, what we're going to be doing is, as you can see, we're moving up with our Zerglings right now. We're going to attack the far extreme edge of this wall off and kind of force the zealot out, because if the zealot doesn't move out to engage our Zerglings, what's going to happen is, I lost the Zerglings there for a second. If the zealot doesn't move out to engage the Zerglings, what's going to happen is he's just going to lose his pylon, and he's going to be even worse of a position. So he does move out, try to engage the Zerglings, and this is where we're attempting to finagle our way in, trying to force him down. We are keeping these 3 up, attacking the pylon, and having these 3 wait until he moves out, and we get the perfect window to move in. And there you go. Zealot moves up, our Zerglings are able to move in. He's forced to either chase or stay right there and block it off. He decides to stay, and since he is staying there, and we did manage to take out that pylon, he has 0 production at the moment, and he's got no more backup zealots or stalkers coming en route. So we're basically able to kind of force him to dance around, and as long as we micro our Zerglings properly and keep him away from those dangerous zealot blades, then we should do pretty well. He's moving up some probes to try to engage, definitely a smart move. Now at this point we've already started working on our expansion. In fact, it just popped up, bringing our queen down to use spawn larva, and we're just going to keep massing out Zerglings. We found a really good window of opportunity here. We were able to bust through that front wall, and now we're inside of his base harassing, kind of forcing him to chase us around. He's still unable to produce yet. He's just finally getting up a pylon that's going to be able to allow him to start producing more units. And so far we've pretty much just crippled him. We've used our Zerglings to force him to run around. We did take off that one pylon that was powering there, and then there was the second one behind that we managed to take out as well. And again, it's just seizing that window of opportunity. That's specifically what this strategy video is about. We saw an opportunity here. We saw this wide blockade that he was trying to do in the front, and we took advantage of the fact that we were able to hit an extreme edge and kind of force him out to allow our Zerglings to run in. And again, this isn't something that you'll never see. This isn't like some ridiculous wall off, this guy's terrible, who would ever do that. Lots of lots of Protoss players do this type of wall off in these maps that have a kind of a choke right by the natural expansion. So this is something you're likely to come across in lots of your games. So we're continuous this mass Zergling production. We're going to start saturating our natural as well to get that economic advantage, since we've crippled them so far so much. And at this point, again, he's got 0 production. He does have this one up here. He's trying to chrono boost out a stalker and trying to drop his production buildings in here, and his tech buildings, to stop our Zerglings from getting surround on them. But we've already done so much damage. We're going to start picking off this Nexus here, and it's going to drop very shortly. He does move up the probes though to try to engage, but at the same time, while he's moving up with his probes, he's not getting any economy. He's not gathering any resources, and as you can see, he's so low on resources as it is. And these Zerglings are going to finally be able to pick off this Nexus, and that's basically going to be the end of the game at that point. Protoss player goes ahead and calls good game, and there we go, flawless victory. So again, this specific strategy, we just went with kind of a standard force unit pool, and we intended on following that up with an expansion. But we saw this window here, we saw this opportunity in being able to pick off one far edge of the wall off and then run in the other once he stops that blockade by moving that zealot out. And then we just followed up by pumping out more Zerglings and keeping the pressure up, and as you can see, it was very effective for us. So again, guys, this has been for StarCraft 2 Strategy, your #1 location for step-by-step strategy and tutorial videos. If you guys like our videos here, you like what we're doing, please do subscribe to our channel. Keep watching and keep owning.